Hello, guys. My name is Sonya Henry, and I just started a project called Project Perspective. It's a victim's point of view, a movement of recovery and justice for child sexual abuse victims. Now, you may be wondering, why would she start this out of the blue? What made her start this? Well, that's the thing. It's not out of the blue. I'm a child sexual abuse victim, and I've been wanting this for a long time. I've been wanting to, help victims since I was a young girl going through what I was going through. I actually been advocating young girls since the age of 12 years old. So I kind of been wanting to do this type of thing. So today I'm going to be telling you my child sexual abuse story, but I'm going to be telling it my way. This has been an issue for a long time. I've been itching to get this out. I just didn't know how to do it, and I just wanted to tell it the right way, and I wanted to tell the truth. Um, See the difference between my movement and other movements. At this time, I am, not only just telling my story, but I'm telling you the afterlife. I'm want to let you know the after effects. People need to know. I think it's very important that people get a chance to see, what it looks like on the other end and what, what is going to happen to their children. A lot of people don't know. Like when I went through what I went through, my mother shared that one of her colleagues, and she told her, well, you gotta watch her because it's going to get worse, and just protect her and pray over her, and that's one of the things that I think that a lot of people need to know, the afterlife. It's not ugly, it's not pretty, and don't get me wrong, it's pretty hard for me to say this, I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many times I done re-recorded this video just to tell you without breaking down, you know. But I am ready, and I'm ready to help people. So, before I begin, I would like to warn you that I will be using graphic language. So, that was your little warning. So, I'm gonna try to give you the quick version. This is a very long story, but I'm gonna try to give it to you as quick as possible. I actually have here a little note to kind of keep me a little organized and staying on track because I'm good at getting off track when it comes down to having conversations. Okay, so basically I'm just gonna start from the beginning. When I was a little girl, um. First, okay, let me start off. No, let me start off by this. First off, my child sexual abuse started from when I was 6 years old, and it ended, around the ages of 12 years old. And I had encountered over 10 abusers, both male and female. I had, been molested and sexualized. I've been sodomized, all those particular type of things. But today I'm just gonna discuss with you three events of me encountering my abusers. Most of these people are family or somebody, a family friend or something like that, people we know. you know okay, so when I was a little girl, I was sweet, quiet, shy. I was silly as well. I loved to sing. I loved to write. I wrote a lot of music. I've been writing music since I was 6 years old. Stories, plays, things like that. And basically it all started back, when I was 6 years old. I was an honor roll student, and I went down to a not being an honor roll student. And my mom and dad basically they got a divorce. There was some things going on in the marriage, and it had to end. And so my mom and dad got a divorce, and my dad found a new family. He married this woman, and they was a little weird family. And she had a weird son. Mind you, I was 6. He had to be at that time, I want to say 15 or 16 years old. This event, of abuse with this particular guy, my stepbrother, happened over the course of 3 years. So this what happened. One day, we was over my dad's house, and me and my sister was in the tub, and my grandmother, my dad's mother, wanted to take us a bath. And we didn't mind taking a bath together. That's what we do. But what was awkward was she left the door open while she was taking us a bath, and the guy was standing outside just looking in the hallway, just sitting there, just looking at us like this, looking at me. And I began to just kind of cover my body up, and I was trying to cover over my sister too while she was taking us a bath. And I was just like, this is so weird. He just stood there, looked. She asked him to get a towel. He went to go get a towel, came back, and I put me and my sister in the towel together. You know what I'm saying? And because I wanted to protect us or whatever. I didn't like the way he was looking at us. So later that night, everybody went to bed. It was dark. It was late. And usually, before we go to bed, we would get on the computer and play those little painting things they had on the computer back in the day. I'm pretty sure it's still there, but that's what we used to do. Those are our little computer games. And I was the last one up. It was my turn, but I was determined to play my game, do my little paintings. And he came to the door, and he was like, come here, come here real quick. And I'm like, what he want? I kind of contemplate, should I go or should I should I not go? I got curious, so I went to the front of the house. Everybody's asleep. It's pitch dark. And he picks me up and he began to kiss me and touch me all over my body. And, he told me that he loved me. He set me on a washing machine. He would, do all those things. And he got to a point where he began to start to, fondle me, touch on my chest, all my body parts, and things like that. And he would tell me that he loved me and that he was my boyfriend, and he would ask me, "Are you gonna tell?" And I'm like, "No." So in my mind, I'm like, "Well, this is my boyfriend." Mind you all, I'm still 6 years old, and he's like 15 to 16 years old. And it went on for a while. This went on for a course of 3 years. And then it went to the next level. The next level was oral sex. He began to teach me how to give him head. So basically, it would happen in my dad's room. My dad had a bed set really, really high. And my brother and sister would be on the bed. And basically, he would direct me and tell me what to do. So he was like, well, just get out the bed and go in there real quick and then wait a second, come back. Or either we'll be out the room at the same time. So while they in the room, me and him will be in another room doing it as well. And I will be giving him head. And it got to a point where I just began to do it normally because I thought that that's what I was supposed to do. That's what I thought I was supposed to ask his girlfriend, And that's just what happened, y'all. It became normal. It became my life. It became my being. What I was supposed to do, was to please him and his body. And so yeah, then it went to the next level. And so the next level was him taking his penis and penetrating me. Now his penis was about the size of my fist. No lie. I want to say about this long. And this particular time, I had on jeans this day. I remember it just very, very well. He laid me over the bed and he tried to put his penis in me, and I just remember it just being so painful, God. It was so painful. And I remember just crying like, oh my gosh, it hurts. And he was like, shh, are you going to tell? He said worried about me telling, instead of trying to see, if it hurt or not. I'm like, hurting, and I'm just crying like, bro, this like really hurts. And then instead of him stopping, he flips me over and then stick his penis in my backside. And that even hurt it even worse, And I'm like, what is this crazy guy doing to me? But I didn't say anything. He just asked me, am I going to tell? And I'm sitting there just crying. Then he flipped me over and did it again. But what ended up happening was, my brother was coming to the back of the house. He was calling my name, Saya, Saya, something like that. And we was like, oh snap, So he immediately moved and kind of tackled my brother. And I believe my brother began to start to cry because he was a little rough with him, you know. And I was like, let me buckle up my pants, and that's what stopped him from doing it, So after that, I was just like, okay, that's the max, brother. Like, we can't do this anymore. It went to a point where I just can't handle it. Throughout this time, my mother was always asking me questions. And like I said, I was the type of young lady where I was just quiet and I'm always smiling. And my mother would ask me, Sonya, are you doing okay? What's wrong with my baby? Because she would have dreams, so if something just ain't right. My mom was she was very aware, she took very great care of us, when we were children. And, she was just like really worried and like what's going on. And so I would just smile back and say, no ma'am, nothing's going on, mom, nothing. And I remember one time she was really crying. She was like, I just don't know what's wrong with my baby. And I just remember just smiling, just patting the back. It's okay, mom's gonna be okay. And all the while I'm just sitting here holding this big secret. And so what began to happen? Well, it began to try to come out. Like I told you, I didn't want to tell. I wasn't trying to tell. I was afraid to tell because I did not, not want to see my dad, and I didn't want to get, my stepbrother in trouble or slash boyfriend. At that time, that was my mindset. And yeah, I was just afraid. And so I just like I told you, I did not want to go over there anymore. So I protested to my mother, like, Mom, I don't want to go over there. She like, you ain't gotta go over there no more. You ain't gotta go over there. So I stayed in the house, and she went outside and told my father that I did not want to come over there, and he didn't like it. He didn't like the fact that I did not want to come over there. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I went out there and said, no, sir, I don't want to come, and it was like the hardest thing to do for me to do because I love my dad and I want to go to see him, but I didn't want to go over there because of what, the guy was doing. And so basically, long story short was that it came out. And how it came out was through a dream. Now, I come from a dreaming family, and so people in my family kind of know what it is, about dreams, about, what the meanings are and things like that. And so I had a dream about one of my cousins, actually one of the people who I'm very close with. We like really tight friends. And this dream was basically like, it was me and her and this dark shadow, this guy. I know about her because I repeated so many times back in the day. He was messing with her, and I was like, leave her alone, leave my cousin alone, leave her alone. It's like a nightmare. It was so scary for me. And I told my mama, and she had me repeat it to everybody in the family, telling them and trying to figure it out. And so that particular weekend that I didn't go to my dad's house, I think one of those days, I went to go visit my grandmother, and we were just hanging out, watching TV, eating chips or something like that. And like, she was just like, now let me tell you about the relationship between my grandmother. My grandmother's like a guardian angel. Like, outside of my mother, she's like the next step up. Like, I love my grandmother. So she said, Sonya, tell me that dream again that you had, that you told your mama. And so I told her, and she was like, She said, I'm gonna ask you a question, and I want you to tell the truth. I promise you I'm not gonna tell your mother. I promise you I'm not gonna tell her. And you guys, when I tell you, she won me over. I'm just like, she ain't gonna tell. She really made me feel like she wasn't gonna tell my mama. But as soon as I said, you know what? Yes, man, he doing it. And then she asked me, she asked me, what's that boy that messing with me? And I said, yes, ma'am. And immediately she called my mother. And y'all, when I tell you that little short lady came so quick, she got to my grandmother's house so quick, and she just grabbed me and held me, and oh gosh, she was enraged. She was upset. She was just like, Mom, I'm so tired. I'm so tired of him. She was telling my dad, so she said, you gotta call your dad. You gotta tell him. So I called him and I told him. He was just like, oh, I'm gonna beat him up. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. And all this other stuff. And so we went to the hospital. I got examined. And long story short, we went to court and the case was dismissed because they said that there wasn't, any evidence, and that my mother put it all in my head. My mother and dad had, some domestic violence that happened throughout the marriage. So they kind of used that as an advantage to the case. So I'm like, oh, whatever. Okay, so now we're gonna skip into the next event. This event happened in church. It was pretty short, but it happened over a period of time when I was going to this particular church. And the guy would basically, every time we got on our knees to pray, he would go up under my shirt and put his hand under my little baby training bra and start, feeling on my breast. And or either he'll be just touching on my leg. And I said, let me go ahead and tell, So I told my mama, and she went and told the family, or this particular family member, and I was called a lie. She said, you a lie. And ever since then, I made up my mind. I'm not saying nothing else. I'm not telling anybody anything, because first of all, the story get old. Nobody wants to hear it. Then you're a liar. You know what I'm saying? Then the court come around and tell you, oh, there ain't no evidence. We don't know that. How we know he touched you? We don't know that. That's what the world says, about child sexual abuse. So, okay, another event happened. And this particular person was a family member. And so this is what happened with this situation. He began to kind of, sexualize my body. I'm talking about like in a more deeper manner. I'm talking about like he was giving me oral sex, and he would put his mouth on my breast at the time, because I was like 11 or 12 years old at the time. And he would like really be fondling me, things like that, and having all the time. He would pick me up in the air, acting as if he's picking me up like Superman or something, but in all actuality, he's fingering me in my vagina. And so it was this one particular day. It's the same house, same incident, same person. A family friend of this child that used to come around this particular, our family, and he was just around his day, and I was basically being passed around. I would be in one room, and the cousin is, doing what he's doing to my body, and then in the next room, the other guy's doing the same thing to my body. And so it was like, every time I escape one room, it will happen again. All in the same set, all in the same house, by two different people without them knowing it. They're unknowledgeable of what's going on, but they're doing the same thing. So that happened always like I was 12 years old. So over the course of these little, 6 years of my abuse, a lot of dysfunctions was, going on. I had a multiple personality disorder. I didn't figure all this out till I was like in college. one side of me was the humble side that I am, and the other side was very seductive. But it was very quiet. I would stare a man down in the eyeballs, trying to see. I was very available. If somebody wanted to do something to me, I didn't say anything about it, but if somebody wanted something to do something to me, they could have done it to me. You know what I'm saying? And I'll just be sitting. I was always around. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm thinking that something's supposed to happen. A man's supposed to do something to my body, without me saying anything about it, without him giving him any permission to anything, And this was normal for me. This was my life. You know what I'm saying? I want to say, I don't want to say, I was like, I was a target, like they knew who to come touch on, and I was the person to come do it because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why I was like that, but that's what it was. But, yeah, like I was really messed up, and I'm going to go into a next part, talking about what really went down, in the after part of it. I was really messed up. So stay tuned. Thank you. Hey guys, so this is part two. I really couldn't fit everything into that one little video. I really tried, you guys, but I'm gonna still try to make it quick and finish this up. Just to jump right into it. Um, so the first half of my childhood consisted of nothing but sex. I was mentally a sex slave. I was available. Um, I had multi personality disorders. That's all I knew. That was what it was. End of the story, That was my life. That was my being. That was my nature. Sex for someone to come touch me. That's what it was, you know. So this is the afterlife. This is the dark side. Um, and everything that happened afterwards. Everything just really took a big 360, a big turn. So one day, I was in my mother's room. I think she was at work, I believe. And I just got this huge, like, big sexual urge. I mean, I'm talking like it was big. It was bigger than being, horny or anything like that. It was huge. I'm talking about I didn't know where it come from, but it just came out of nowhere. And I just felt the need to have something fill up my body, to come inside me and to do something, and I couldn't get to it. It was like something I had to do. I had to get to my body. And I tried to, masturbate, and that didn't work. It was like, no, that's not enough. That's not getting it. It's not doing it. Something said, well, go find something to put up there, I'm like, no, 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 no. That's not working either. They ain't gonna do. So I began to seek. So I got in middle school. I think I was like in the 7th grade. And around this time everybody was just on this whole social media thing. In the chat line, talking on Bebo, MySpace, Tag, all that stuff. It was just really popular. That's what everybody was finding their boyfriends and girlfriends at the time. And so, this one girl, she was just talking about the chat line, this little hotline, local hotline, that she would get on and she would meet guys and they would do things for her and things like that. So I'm like, And what mostly attracted me about it, because she said she found her boyfriend, her man. So I'm like, I want a boyfriend. So I began to explore the chat line. And the chat line got me in a lot of trouble. I was always on it talking to older men, um, just talking to it. Then it went to another level. I began to want to see them. And so this one guy came over and we attempted to have sex, but it was just like it didn't work. But he did try when he did try to put it in me. I felt like pretty much the scum of the earth. I felt like a dirty rag. I felt filthy. As soon as he left, I went to the restroom. I saw blood. Um, and I took a rag and yeah, I took a rag and I put soap on it and began to wash myself out because it was wetness down there and um his sperm down there, and I began to just, orgasm. I began to just wash it, you know, and I was just crying like, what did I just do? Oh my gosh, but that wasn't enough to stop me, you know, and so it was like, wow, I just got away with it. I just did that, so I began to do it again, and again and again, just meeting guys and just talking to them, and this happened like within a particular period, for a period of time, you know. And so I got caught. And the way I got caught was one day, I was at school and I played hooky, and I wanted to just go home. I didn't feel like being around people at this particular time, and my mother came to come pick me up from school. And I was in the school library and I was emailing him because mind you, I didn't have phones because my mom took my phone away. Um, it was pretty hard for me to do particular type of things, so I couldn't do too much, but I did do a something. I was watched. I was around my grandmother. They watched. They was very aware what was going on. So my mother caught me one day messaging a person and we were talking about sex. And I didn't know she was standing behind me. She was like, "Son, you having sex?" And like I couldn't even lie. I was just like, "Yes, ma'am, I am." And when I say like it broke her heart, and I felt it to the core, and it hurt me. And I'm like, dang, like I was not trying to do that. I was very apologetic, and it was just like because I felt like I knew better, and but it was something I just couldn't control, something that was way bigger than me, you know. And when I tell you the enemy really tried to step in at that point and, try to take over our family, I had did something terribly, wrong, and it really kind of took everything to a dark place within our family. Oh, but God. So what happened? Let me go ahead and finish this story because it's victory after this. I gave my life to Christ. And how this happened was one day, like I've always been a very analytical person. I always thought things through. Why this happened? Why that happened? So I was always questioning, myself, questioning other things. And I remember just like yesterday, I was asking myself, is it okay to be a whore? And I remember my mom just trying to break it down. And so I said, yes, okay, because everybody doing it. I'm trying to really bring logic to this, like for real. Regardless that I was raised up in a Christian belief, a Christ believing home. And this, even though I was going through all this thing, I knew that God was still watching over me and keeping me, and that He had called me because Spirit said, no, no, it's not okay to be a whore. And I began to kind of slow down some of my acts and what I was doing because I was just like, okay, I'm just tired of this. And it was just coming to that little point, that it was time for all this to come to an end. So, my grandmother came over, and I think this was like, it was, I don't know, but she knew what was going on. And she said, why are you doing this? And I had no answer for her. I said, I don't know. And then she began to talk, and she began to say, you're supposed to be dead right now. The stuff that you do, you're supposed to be dead. And I think at that point, that's when it hit me, My grandmother was like my guardian angel. Like, she always came in at the right time, you know, and she always knew what to say. Child sexual abuse is not easy to deal with. It's not easy to talk about. It's not easy at all, you know. But my grandmother was able to, know what to say. And ever since then, I began to seek God. I began to just start praying and asking God to help me and save me and things like that. And I started opening up my Bible. He began to release some things. And I made up my mind, I'm stopping this. I'm not doing it. And I had stopped. But there were still people trying to bring up things. And, that's all right. Because at that, that's when my salvation came. One day we were leaving church and my mother was asking me, why do you do this? Because someone had said something trying to bring up more and more and more and more craze to her, to what already was there. And I had a breakdown, And I was like, Mom, I don't know why. And I'm tired. I remember saying it just like that. I don't know why. And I'm tired. I was so tired. I didn't know why I was doing that. It was just really tearing me down. And we got home and my mother said, just get on your knees and pray and just give it to God. Talk to God about it. Tell him everything. Confess everything. Tell him everything that the devil is doing. Tell him everything. And y'all, that's what I did. She began to guide me in prayer and say, save me, Lord. And I began to say, save me, Lord. Save me, Jesus, oh God. And soon, before I even know, the spirit came down and covered over me, and it came right through me and began to bring all those things that was haunted and that was dark in me. He began to just just bring it on out of me. And I knew it because it like literally physically came out of me. I began to throw up and spit up. The spirit just began to just clean me up. And God is just so good. I felt so new. It was like one of the best decisions I could have ever made in my entire life. My mother began to prophesy to me. The Lord began to speak to her and say, that is about to get harder than you know, but I'm going to be with you. And soon after I got that prophecy, that's exactly what happened. I reverted back to, my sexualized lifestyle, but it got worse. I really started doing stuff that I didn't do. I started to watch porn and, I tried to start masturbating. But it was just like I was so convicted, and like I was like, Lord, I'm sorry. I got finished doing it. I began to start praying, and that's basically what God do. God is a loving God. People just think he just gonna throw you to the pits of hell. No, God is a father. He will keep you. He will watch over you. He will protect you. He will train you. He will mold you. And that's what God was doing to me. He was molding me. He was helping me. He was fixing me, and killing all those stones right there. Like, right, every time it came up, he was killing it. I'll be at school and I found some of my friends doing the same thing, like going to meet up with their boyfriends in the parking lot having sex. And it was like, I can't do that. I couldn't do it. I couldn't find myself to do it. That's how good God is. So this was at the age of 14. I got saved at the age of 14. So I was going into high school at this time. So so the enemy really tried to break up our family as well in this timing. The devil was literally living in our house, trying to destroy our family one by one. Oh, but God is good, y'all. Like, God was the key thing. Christ was the key thing in my transformation, in my growth, in me coming out. And that's why I'm able to even tell you just this part of the story. But he began to tear my family apart, fighting me and my mother fighting, me and my brother fighting. Not me and my sister, we didn't fight like that. But yeah, trying to tear us apart. And I left. I went to my dad's house and thinking that this was going to be what it was, get better, but it wasn't. And Spirit brought me back home and built my spirit. I began to build up a prayer life, and I was kind of humble as I began to go in my closet, literally just like the Bible said, and I began to go and pray in my closet, and like the Spirit began to build me up, show me dreams and show me my calling and things like that. And I came back home, and I began to face all those enemies and slay each and every one of them. Me and my family is like unstoppable now. Like nobody can touch us. The love in our family is so founded because our family is built off the foundation of God's love. When we was babies, my mother, had already instilled prayer in us. So I mean, that's when the word says that the love of God is so strong, it's unbreakable. You can't tear up God's love. But anyway, I haven't had sex. I didn't do anything. I got to college, and that's when I began to realize how messed up my head was. God began to reveal me. I began to pray and ask God. I said, Lord God, show me. That's how humble I got, because I began to point out my problems and my faults and what I was doing, and God began to show me. And me and my mother had, before I left to go off to college, or before I gotta tell y'all the things that God had done for me. I thought, people were telling me when I was a younger girl, people were saying, "Oh, you're gonna have a baby at a younger age," and I had like a grown woman's body at a younger age, and people used to say, "Oh, you got a baby, you pregnant, you this, you that." I was talking about naming and claiming it on me, cursing me, but God said no. I didn't have any kids, no diseases. To God be the glory. I graduated high school early, and I was able to get in my first choice college. Oh, y'all don't tell me that the blood still hurts, okay? Yeah. Okay. So I went to college, and my mother, before I went off, my mother, we had this big argument, about me going on birth control. I said, Mama, no, not going on birth control. Like, I'm celibate. I'm for God. I ain't doing nothing. Yeah, I went to college, and I really had that mentality that I wasn't gonna do nothing. And I did. I ended up having sex with this guy, and I had a mental breakdown. I'm talking about like a breakdown, like I couldn't look at nobody in the face. None of that. I'm talking about mental, like torn. I'm crying, broken down, confused. And I think one of the things that I kind of struggle with, when it comes to my abuse, is the fact that I was abused, but I found it pleasure in it. And it was like one of those things I always fought with, was like, my story wasn't like other young women's story who have been molested or raped. You may hear the other stories, oh, I didn't like it, I shut down, but I didn't shut down, That was my struggle, that I actually liked it, but it was killing me. And that's what it felt like when I had sex. Me putting a knife to my neck, it felt like suicide, so I knew I couldn't do it anymore. And so I'll tell you about this last thing here. This guy, he was in my algebra class, and he was very attractive. And one day he messaged me on Facebook. I'm like, okay, we was talking real good, and he came to see me, came to my room at the time. And long story short, we had sex. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it just happened. So, I mean, that was like he came over and had sex. And so he kept on trying to come over and have sex. And I'm like, okay, look now, I'm doing good. I don't need this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just go ahead and let him know. This ain't about to go down. And so I remember me in my room, pacing back and forth, practicing in the mirror, saying it out loud, how to tell him I don't want to do this anymore. And he came over. He finally came over. Finally came to the time, like, okay, son, you can do it. He got on my bed, ready to do it. And as soon as I opened my mouth to say, I don't want to do this, it was just like the devil put his fist in my mouth and shut me up. Because I remember it as I opened my mouth and I was like, and I stuttered. And as soon as I stuttered, I began to like cry. A tear came down my face. And I immediately started away because I didn't want him to see it. And I was just like, I couldn't tell him no. No, why would that happen? You know? And like the whole time I said, okay, let me let him go ahead and have sex with me. And so he has sex with me. And I'm crying, but I'm hiding it. You know, he leave. And immediately as he left, I got on my knees and I began to pray. And I'm telling you, this is the God we serve. You know, God, he's a fixing God. He's a molding God. He's a healing God. He's a covering God. He knows, honey. He knows. And so I got on my faith and I began to pray and tell him all about it. And I said, Lord, I just couldn't believe that I couldn't say no. And so, by the end of the night, that's when I got my power. That's when I got power. You know, I could say no. And ever since then, I've been able to say no. You know, that was the time when I began to realize how messed up and sick I was. I realized all the dysfunctions that I had encountered over because of this abuse and all the things that I was struggling with. You know, my whole life consisted of sex. That's all I knew. So I had to learn how to adapt to a lifestyle that I wasn't used to, and that's being celibate. That's being, you know, not giving myself to a person as if I'm a piece of meat, or giving them that time. That's the only thing that, you know, that's the only way I can have a man or a boyfriend or anything like that, you know. And so God has given me the opportunity to know what it's like to be in a relationship that is not, you know, driven by sex. Me and that guy is not together now, but to God be the glory. He used him to give me an example to show what it's supposed to be like. But God is so good. I am here right now. This is my last year of college. And I am a living witness. I am a testimony of, you know, being a survivor of child sexual abuse. You know, and God is good. You know, you can overcome all of these things. You can come out. You don't have to live in that situation. You know, do not salt in the soil of your circumstances. It's not temporary. You don't have to stay there. You know, God will bring you through. He will work it out for you. And that's what he's doing for me. And I won't stop. I won't shut up. You know, Revelations 12 and 10 said, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the words of their testimonies, that they loved their lives not unto death. You know, and that's what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing this. I'm not getting the glory out of this. You know, God is, you know, and I want people to get the same thing that I got out of this. Victory. See, I win. You know what I'm saying? People's judgment do not determine, you know, how I live my life. See, God already judged me. You know what I'm saying? And I've been winning ever since, as you can see. I've been winning ever since. Ever since. Everything that people have said about me, every lie, everything. Everything. I mean, look at me. And I just really thank God. And I'm just praying that people really hear this video, get to see what I'm talking about. Like, people are dealing with sex demons. I had a sex demon in me that enraged my body. I'm still dealing with some things, but not to you know, the intensity that I dealt with it then. You know, I used to have trances randomly. I'm talking about even when I was saved. You know, so one time I was on a Greyhound bus, and I'm half asleep, half awake, and it appears that this man is just looking at me sexually, and I begin to just touch all over my body. Y'all, I'm talking about, it's so real. we got to learn how to find that foundation. It's all about foundation. Families, y'all got to learn how to get that foundation. We got to stop this lie. We got to stop this. We got to start talking about it, especially in the Black community. Because doing my research and all of this, I have learned and found the only people who are really talking about it is the white people. You know, and not trying to be, because I'm not racist or anything. I'm just letting y'all know the truth. It's sad. Out of my research, I have only found probably about maybe 1 or 2 Black people who are, you know, opening their voices about it. Have started different types of movement, you know, about child sexual abuse. But I want to change. I want this to change. You know, I'm ready for this. I don't care what people have to say about me. You know, if you weren't in my shoes, you have no place to talk. You know, so thank you all for listening, and share this with your friends, your families, you know, and tell them all about it. Let them know that they don't have to live in this situation. You don't have to die yet, honey. You don't have to live in that situation. Don't salt in it. Don't marinate in it. Get up. I want to be the one to help you. Follow me. Go to my website, www.SONYACLARRISA.com. That's SONYACLARRISA.com. I have so much in store. I'm planning on a tour to travel the states. I want to get to as many people as I can and help them overcome their child sexual abuse. So many people are going through this. I know what it looks like. I know what it looks like for men. I know what it looks like for, you know, little girls and even older people. You know, my family have a great history of child sexual abuse. And so I know what the outcomes look like over all settings. Thanks for watching. And don't forget, y'all, don't live in it. You don't have to stay in that situation. Let me help you get up. There's a way out of this. Thank you.